Start.
Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. As Congress is all set to form the next government in Karnataka and BJP taking a solace in the fact that their vote share remains intact. The biggest setback is for one party in Karnataka, and that is the H.D. Kumaraswamy-led Janata Dal Secular. Can Kumaraswamy really save and protect the crumbling bastion of JDS? What were the factors which were responsible really for the rout of the party, if I may say, because with just 19 seats in their kitty, where is JDS headed to is the million-dollar question on everybody's mind. I'm joined by Sugata Srinivasaraju, who is also H.D. Deve Gowda's biographer, senior journalist, and political commentator. Mr. Raju joins us on the Federal. Thank you so much, Mr. Raju.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary.
Coming on the Federal. And my first question to you really is that it's almost like a rout for a party which used to be a kingmaker, and from kingmaker to a complete decimation of sorts. What were the factors really responsible for this?
First of all, I wouldn't like to term it a decimation because 19 seats is not decimation, and 13% vote share is not 13.5 or something is not decimation. It is, yes, they have been hugely disappointed. I think they thought they would get around 40 seats or 45 seats, or at least retain around 35, 36 seats that they had got in 2018. That has not happened. And in their own core area, that is the old Mysore region or the south of Karnataka, they seem to have lost around 4% vote share. And that 4% seems to have gone mostly to the Congress, and it became, in some of the seats, it became a triangular contest in the South Karnataka, because I think the BJP, right from the word go, was looking to expand into South Karnataka, which it has not been a South Karnataka party, and it's not been a pan-Karnataka party for a very long time. So I think it was a part of their strategy to, one, get out of the Lingayat centric politics of the BJP, and to become a pan-Karnataka party. So I think they made quite a lot of effort, very concerted effort in the south of Karnataka. And if you recall, the very first meeting that Amit Shah and Modi held were in the south of Karnataka, in the bastions of Janata Dal. So that sort of tells you that, they were quite at it. Although they sort of messed up a little, they got issues messed up. They attacked Deve Gowda, which did not seem to go well in the middle of the campaign. They also brought up issues like Nandini and Amul, which were, the cooperative sector has been very, very, important, and it is seen as a kind of farm initiative, and Deve Gowda being a farmer's leader, and his son having served as the chairman of KMA for a very long time, and having built infrastructure for that. People thought all that would accrue to the JDS, but in the end result, it does not seem to have happened. See, there are many reasons as to why this did not happen. One, it is certainly not because the Janata Dal Secular did not work hard enough. In fact, if you look at the campaigns, if you make a comparative analysis of the campaigns that were run by the BJP, the Congress, and the JDS, even if you sort of make a professional assessment of it, I think the best programs were offered by the JDS. The Pancharatra Yatra or the Janata Jaradare. They were more grounded, they were more responsive, and they were not the kind of guarantees that the Congress started adding into their campaign as they saw their numbers were not going up. See, the Congress for a very long time, at least at the survey stage, around January, February, March, they seem to be stuck around the 92, 95 number. So they were actually, doing very aggressive media and aggressive campaigning. And in fact, they were playing the role that the BJP often plays. And the corruption narrative they picked up, of course, they were not exposing scams. It was the local media which had brought up a lot of issues, and they were capitalizing on that. And that narrative stuck at the end of it. And I think that it was a certain anger vote, which, the figure of Bommai and BJP did not seem to sort of, people just wanted to kick them out. They just wanted them out of the scene. So, and
Mr. Raju, those factors which you have listed out are perfectly understandable. And
yes,
I myself had visited Karnataka, where I met H.D. Kumaraswamy and Mr. Deve Gowda, and they spoke about the Mission 123 and their Pancharatna Yatras. Of course, the efforts weren't lagging. But somewhere down the line, if the vote share is shrinking, then it does send out a message that probably the space for the third force in the state apparently is shrinking somewhere.
no, I was coming to that, Neelu. I was
Yes.
coming to that. See, in a polity where ideology, a certain kind of ideology starts playing a very important role. When ideologically kind of ardent, strident positions around ideology. It could be Hindutva ideology or the ideology that the Congress claims to represent, a certain kind of secular kind of thing. This became a kind of bipolar idea at some point of time. So the minority vote also was, I think, went in a very tactical fashion. See, people did not want to vote a party which may actually create a kind of uncertainty in Karnataka. They wanted to actually push out the BJP government. That anger was very, very real, and they went with a party that is most likely to win.
But allow me to interrupt you, Mr. Raju. Allow me to interrupt you. You said that the anger was against BJP. So if I'm talking particularly about the old Mysuru region, which was the stronghold of JDS, did the people of old Mysuru region ally BJP with JDS? And apparently that could be the confusion in the minds of the people. And that is why the people in that stronghold did not vote for JDS.
No, see, if you go by that logic, even in 2018, Rahul Gandhi was accusing the JDS of being a B team of the BJP. So that accusation was hurled at them this time as well. But when Modi went to Mandya and the South Karnataka regions, he said that the JDS was a B team of the Congress. And Amit Shah very specifically said that giving a vote to JDS is giving a vote to Congress. So both the national parties were hurling similar allegations. So it became a kind of bipolar contest between the two national parties. And,
what I'm not able to understand, Raju, is that, why was JDS confused when they knew that, BJP is also flexing its muscles, Congress is also trying to make inroads into the old Mysuru region, then they should have cut out a separate narrative for themselves. And that is where I think the party lagged.
No, the narrative is that, see, ideologically, there was a space available for the Congress, that is to stand opposite of the BJP, which it became the sole representative, which is the non-Hindutva kind of alternative. And if you look at what the BJP had done under Bommai especially, was to rake up a lot of communal issues. It could be hijab or azan or halal or tweaking textbooks and all that. So somewhere over there, the JDS went with a pure development agenda. But Mr. Kumaraswamy, to his credit, kept on saying that, we are not for communal issues and we want to make this. He used to quote a line from Kuvempu, K.V. Puttappa, the poet laureate, saying, Sarva Janangada Shantiya Tota. This is a garden of harmony and we will not allow that to be destroyed. And, far bigger kind of signaling that the JDS did was to bring in Mr. C.M. Ibrahim, a old hand, and make him the president of the state unit. And if you watched Mr. Ibrahim campaign across Karnataka, he was doing a bilingual campaign. He would start off by talking in Kannada, and then he would end his speeches in Urdu. So they were clearly targeting the Muslim community, trying to tell them very clearly that we are with you. But, the Muslims also probably made a calculation that, giving a vote to the JDS across, the south of Karnataka and elsewhere would mean that there was a chance that the BJP may take a back route and come back, keep a bigger number so that, it creates a certain kind of uncertainty. That they did not want, perhaps. These are all guesses that we are making now. The numbers are very clear. The Congress did not win big just in South Karnataka. The Congress won big everywhere. If you look at
But you were talking about, Mr. Raju, you were talking about the Muslim consolidation,
Yes.
but whatever data has come so far, it seems that the Muslims also have voted as almost like a homogeneous mass, for Congress. Now, what is the biggest reason for that? Was
the
there
biggest
doubt?
reason is
Was there doubt in the minds of the voters that JDS apparently its stance is not very clear because it was saying that it can ally with BJP or Congress is what it wasn't sure itself, and was that the confusion in the minds of the voters of the Muslim
no, I
community?
mean it is it. I mean, if you ask me as a political commentator, all that I would say is that the JDS did everything to convince the Muslim voter by bringing in a Muslim state president,
Right.
and Deve Gowda and Kumaraswamy wearing skull caps, participating in the Ramzan iftars. I mean, they were out there trying to convince them that we are not shy of doing this. And on the contrary, the Congress was not signaling so loudly to the Muslims. If you look at the Bharat Jodo Yatra, where now it's being claimed that that gave a certain kind of air cover to the Congress party. See, the Congress was very afraid of talking about the Tipu Sultan issue. It was Kumaraswamy who took that issue head on. And the pontiff of the Okaliga Mutt had to step in and ask the whoever was creating that narrative that it was the Okaligas who killed Tipu Sultan. He asked them to just shut up. And the whole issue died down overnight. There were arches erected for Modi's welcome with these two characters who were fictional characters who were supposedly to have killed Tipu Sultan, but that issue died overnight.
Right.
So see, they were trying to signal as much as they could, but then probably they have to introspect and see why, despite their signaling, despite their stance, and despite the fact that there was also this allegation that Siddaramaiah and Yediyurappa have a very close relationship, and the 17 people who had crossed over in 2019 pulling down a secular government were all Siddaramaiah's men. So if you apply that logic, Muslims had every reason to doubt everybody in the fray. So it's very difficult to sort of get into the mass psyche as to what happens. I think fear takes over at some point. Voting is not about economics or something else. Voting is about emotion. What happens in that last
Mr. Raju, I did visit Ramanagara, say, for instance, which was Nikhil Kumaraswamy's constituency. And there I saw with my own eyes that JDS workers and BJP workers were almost seen together in many, many pockets.
That I am not aware, because I would only say that the reason for defeat there could be because I was reading an anti-incumbency for the sitting legislator, which is Nikhil Kumaraswamy's mother. And I think she passed on that anti-incumbency to the son. That is how I read it.
No, but wasn't that supposed to be a safe seat for Kumaraswamy and his family?
There were several safe seats across Karnataka where a lot of stalwarts have lost. I think in the kind of polity that we are in now, where Modi has created a kind of blitzkrieg, every seat is a kind of small margin seat. I don't think
there's nothing like a safe seat.
There's nothing like a safe seat, because all safety networks that were created and adjustments have all been broken. So I don't believe in that narrative. And also, if you are talking about Hindutva, when the Bajrang Dal ban was spoken about, I think the local leaders were completely shocked with what was happening, and their response was typical of soft Hindutva, what is called as soft Hindutva, where DK Shivkumar went out and said, I don't know anything about the ban, but I'll be constructing a lot of Hanuman temples at the taluk level. I will be starting new schemes for younger people in the name of Hanuman. I will build the Anjanadri temple. So you started reacting to the BJP in a language that they seem to sort of expect you to react, and that's exactly what majoritarianism is. So if at all somebody can be accused of a certain majoritarian response to the BJP's communal agenda, it was Congress, not the JDS. JDS was, I will say, politically correct at every step, because I'm not an insider. I don't know what deals were being cut, or who was, exchanging what kind of money, or who is
Right.
friends with whom. So you and I as journalists can only infer. And my inference is that when they had ticked every box that was there, how is it that they sort of did not fare well in their mind? So I tend to, I'll come up with something else a little later when I've had a chance to look at things a little more carefully, that I will say that, but there was a certain kind of fear that overtook the electorate, which wanted the BJP out at any cost, and they went with a party which had a larger pan-Karnataka spread and had a network across Karnataka and could be the easy alternative to
But
the
apart from the fear of what you're saying, that people wanted to vote out BJP, but there were
anger and fear.
anger and
Anger and
fear,
fear,
but
yes.
there were certain factors which were very, very evident and apparent, Mr. Raju.
Mm.
Like, say, for example, disputes within JDS, the intra-party disputes over the ticket distribution. That was one factor. Then we saw how candidates were replaced overnight. Party workers were not active in certain pockets, which was evident, in certain pockets where even I visited. And fielding turncoats. Now these were the factors which are the very evident factors which just come, at an instance. So
Correct,
don't you think
Niluji.
that
I
these are
agree with you
factors?
completely. In fact, I completely agree with you. In another interview, I did speak about the rebel candidates becoming their candidates overnight, turncoats, and all that. But if you look at the history of the Janata Dal secular since 1999, which I've had a chance to look at a little carefully, this has always been the case. See, they don't have a pan-Karnataka net. Although they call themselves a regional party, they've been more a sub-regional existence. So, they win a couple of seats in Hyderabad, Karnataka region. This time they won a seat in Kumta. Then they have an ST seat somewhere else. They do win one or two seats outside of the region, or say, sometimes they've even won 10 seats outside the region. But primarily, they are confined to their major chunk of their votes would come from this
Mr.
place.
Raju,
So this has always been the case. What I'm trying to say is that it's not a new thing that they give tickets in the last minute to somebody because they don't have candidates elsewhere. So they just try to make the best use of the situation.
No, but old Mysuru region, Mr. Raju, is actually their womb, out of which they have been born. But now if they have lost seats from their own bastion, does it not go to believe that, the party is really facing an existential crisis at the moment?
Yes.
And is it not the end of the road for JDS?
My analysis has always been that JDS has always been in an existential crisis. When has it been comfortable? Never. Since 1999, the first election, they got 10%. Then the next election, they climbed up to about 21%. Then it has been 18%, then 19%, then they again slide down. So it has been a party, and why I tend to sometimes, think very positively about that party is that party has been eternally fighting to exist. It is their deep democratic engagement which has allowed them to exist. It is that party has not had the comfort. See, Congress has always thought of winning by default. You look at this is the only election where such a circumstance does not exist, where fear and anger and other things propelled them into a certain kind of huge victory, which even they had not anticipated. Let me tell you this. They thought they'll stop at around 115, 110, 115. That was the kind of number even the senior leaders were giving, or maximum 120, and that was the kind of number. So Congress, when it won in 89, the Janata Dal had splintered. Congress, when it won in 99, the Janata Dal had splintered. Congress, when it won in 2013, the BJP had splintered. So there was always this kind of splintering. And I've maintained that this particular election is a transformational election or a transitional election because the BJP decided to play a different game. They played 50% identity politics, they played 25% Hindutva politics, and then 25% risk of spreading into trying to become a pan-Karnataka party, which I think they have eminently succeeded. So I think the BJP, whatever gamble that it made, their strike rate may have come down, they may have performed poorly in certain. See, the voter turnout in their core area in coastal Karnataka came down. In no other area. Coastal Karnataka of all places, which is quote unquote called the laboratory of Hindutva and all that, voter turnout was low. If you look at a seat like Puttur, there was rebellion inside the BJP's core area. If you look at rebellions, Congress faced a lot of rebellion. In fact, a lot of seats were lost like that. And if you look at less than 5% margin seats, you will easily get, I think the numbers are close to 50. So it was 50 seats were flipping this side, that side, going this side, that side. Look at the margin of victory of someone like Dinesh Gundura, who was a former president, 6-time MLA, 100. Look at 100 votes. Look at Jainagar, that poor Soumya Reddy who had done fantastic work. Right. She had to lose because, it kept swinging between 100 votes positive, 100 votes negative, and too many recounts, pushed her out of the victory stand. So this is a different kind of election. I see it as a transitional election. I don't write off JDS because JDS has been in this situation not once, not twice, but perennially. Right. They have always come back. In fact, yesterday, one of the workers of the JDS who went to see Mr. Deve Gowda I asked him, is he doing good? Is he very depressed? So he said, the first thing he said was, Array, 89, we were only 2000, next election, we formed the government. So don't worry about it. I became chief minister, I became prime. And he has written to all the workers saying that. So, I think it's a party in a perennial crisis.
Wouldn't that be seen as putting up a brave face? And given the fact that, Deve Gowda made emotional appeals. I still remember that rally where he said that, I want to see my son for the last time as the chief minister. He did mention that.
No, that is, the son appeal was the minor appeal. But I would sort of, if you look at his other campaigns, 90-year-old Deve Gowda undergoing dialysis, not well at all, going to the hospital, getting his dialysis done, flying out to campaign is a terrific kind of a thing. Lose or win, I will sort of completely, give him full marks for having shown that kind of energy. So they did not fall short of anything. That's right. That's the short point I'm trying to say. They may have been unlucky, and the destiny that they so much believe in, gods and destiny, may have not worked for them this time. So, astrologers that they so much believe may have given them all the wrong predictions. So, there may be hundreds of reasons for that. They have to reflect on that. But one thing has happened. Congress has become their enemy number one.
Right.
So now if they have to defend their turf, they cannot be seen with the Congress. So what my big question is, Niluji, is what happens in 2024? Right. If the Congress is their enemy number one, what is their national alliance going to be is a big question that we all need to work on.
No, but will they ally easily with BJP then? If Congress is their enemy number one now, as what you say, so will they ally easily with BJP and they will have to...
I don't know what they will do. Honestly, I don't know. It's $1 million question because, political alignments, everybody who's now speaking an anti-BJP language, including Stalin and Mamta and, everybody, even including Farooq Abdullah, they've all been in the NDA at one point of time. It is not that the NDA was, less communal when they were part of it and is more communal when they are out of it. So we don't know what alignments will come about. I'm not their political consultant, unfortunately. But only thing that I can tell you is there is also a third voice that you're hearing in Telangana. KCR speaks a different language. Right. Mamta has occasionally, spoken a non-BJP, non-Congress language. I don't know if there'll be a third front and if that third front will be viable. Sometimes if you look at what Nitish is talking, sometimes he wants the Congress to be with him. Sometimes he does not know. He seems to be very confused.
No, but whether options. Mr. Raju, whether at all the third front will take shape or not, it's too early to say anything. Tomorrow is the swearing in of Siddaramaiah. After that, how does Congress take along other parties? Which all parties really join the bandwagon? Is something to really wait and watch.
Yes.
But coming particularly about JDS, how will JDS unfold its prospects now? That is the question on everybody's mind. What happens to the family? Can HD Kumaraswamy really protect his turf turf. When I say, of course, I mean the old Mysuru region, and also in the national elections. How will he ally? What will be his next move? Any idea you can give on that? Because
No,
there is a feeling that H.D. Kumaraswamy is losing his grip on the party. There is a feeling like that.
no, I mean, I don't really know what they will do because I think they have not even met to discuss and reflect on the results. So they'll probably be doing, and I learned that their national executive will happen by the end of June or something like that.
Okay.
And as I already told you, it's not the first time that they've been in this kind of situation. So we don't know what they will put together. Probably they will try to be a real regional party, trying to build alliances in different regions of Karnataka. See, Karnataka, another thing Mr. Deve Gowda kept saying all through the campaign was, he said, look at Tamil Nadu. They vote for regional parties. Look at Telangana. They vote for regional. Why don't you vote for us? But Mr. Deve Gowda's intent and the appeal was appreciated. But the real question that you and I need to ask is, did they have the infrastructure to reap that kind of
Mr. Raju, if you take the example of Tamil Nadu, where Congress is not a big force, BJP is not a big force, and that is why the prospects for a third party like exist. But if you see, the Kannadigas have totally rejected JDS.
I think I won't. As I told you earlier, I will not use the word that they have been demolished or completely decimated or finished. That language I've heard far too long about everybody. If you go outside of Karnataka, you'll hear the same language about the Congress.
You don't agree with the long headlines which come on newspapers that the bastion of JDS is crumbling and falling apart.
The newspapers and television channels are, try to look for a very simple headline which can sort of be easily put there. Politics is not done in such a way. Politics is a far more complex game, and alignments will change. Wait for the Congress's cabinet to be formed. There are 135 people, 30 people will get into the cabinet. So outside of that, there'll be 110 people. Let us see how the Congress handles the weight of the power that it has gained. So things may start turning, and always things roll in a way that we don't expect. And one thing I can tell you about the JDS, having been Deve Gowda's biographer, decennially, I write this in my book, Furrows in a Field, decennially his political obituary has been written. And each time he has, metaphorically speaking, risen like a phoenix from the ashes. So he's old now. We don't know whether Kumaraswamy has the same stamina as Deve Gowda. We don't know that.
No, but 2028, he did mention in my interview also that probably 2028 will be his last election. So after that, what happens now, given the fact that...
Kumaraswamy is not the Kumaraswamy we saw in 2006, shifting and running away and doing something with the BJP. Kumaraswamy will be more concerned. Even if he decides to do something, he will have put a greater thought and logic into it, is my feeling. So we don't know, and he gets emotional, and the family factor that you mentioned is very, very real. It's very real. So although the Congress is also a family party, within Karnataka, the Congress forgets that it is also run by a dynastic party and starts accusing these, the Gowda family of that. It was quite ironic and hypocritical of them. But this time, to their credit again, when the demand came up from the daughter-in-law, I think Deve Gowda put his front foot forward and he tried to curtail that thing. But I think they will be even more cautious about it. I think they will be even more aware of the factor. If they have to win, please know one thing: smaller parties, when there is an existential crisis perennially, will fight harder, will sacrifice a lot, will go out of the way to sort of hit a sixer. But I don't rule out anybody. Congress with...
You have no doubts about the fact that JDS apparently could hit a sixer again in 2020.
And I will not rule out any political entity like that. In fact, in my recent Times of India column, I spoke about the ridiculous logic of A and B teams. This is a democracy that we are in. If somebody is even choosing to vote a small group of band of people who are idealistic and they even lose their deposit, I have the greatest respect for that small group. So, and Deve Gowda's vote share is not something that is earned by blackmail or backstabbing or something like that. It's a genuine demography that votes for him. And if that 13% is not a small number, by any measure. And having maintained...
But indeed, since 1999, since the time it's born, this is the worst performance of the party. One has to grapple
No,
with.
it is not the worst performance of the party. 1999 itself was the worst performance of the party. Its existence, the year it came into existence, it was its worst performance. 10.5% or something, or less than 10%. I forget the exact number. So it's not the first. And the 2008 election, everybody said they'll never come back to power ever again. They were written off. For 10 years, I think Kumaraswamy had to wait in the wings, because 2013, their bitter rival came to power. So, I mean, politics, I don't think we can rule out anything. You know, I mean, in Tamil Nadu, you know, it's a bipolar kind of a thing, AIDMK or DMK. And then they, see, as I mentioned to you right at the beginning, ideological issues have become very, very central because of BJP's Hindutva. So BJP's Hindutva does something else which we have to notice, which is it tries to create another polar opposite, which is a kind of secularism that the Congress fosters.
No, so but will JDS want to come up with a counter for BJP's communal agenda? Something on those lines, or will
they have actually in the last? Somebody can Google and you can see. In fact, they have been the biggest counter. It's not the Congress. Congress in Karnataka has played a kind of, has pussyfooted on a lot of issues. Look at the hijab issue. One issue I will tell you. Did one single senior leader, including Siddaramaiah, speak about the hijab issue? They were trying to divert the issue. They didn't want to get into it. Right. So Tipu Sultan, did Rahul Gandhi, who walked past Srirangapatna and Mysore, did he even, for courtesy's sake, mention Tipu Sultan? No. So you have to ask these hard questions as a political analyst. So JDS has made 1001 mistakes. I'm sure they will correct it. But you can't say just because there is victory handed over to the other side that they did everything right and everything. So a lot of things is also circumstance. There's also circumstance.
I completely agree that we can't say that Congress didn't make any mistakes. But as of now, since we're talking to you and talking about the prospects of JDS, JDS does look like a party which has lost its force. But as you rightly said, that you cannot rule out any possibility. So we'll have to wait and watch as to how JDS makes its next move, and how does H.D. Kumaraswamy really save the party, which is losing its sheen, seemingly. I'm going to use this word. Thank you so much, Sugata Srinivas. It was wonderful having you on the program. And I want to appeal to the viewers who are watching this interview, share this video, subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to The Federal. Thank you.